So Paddy the Baddy just got beat. Paddy the Baddy, as a matter of fact, got submitted. Do you guys even know what I'm talking about? So there's something that goes on in England. This is Paddy's gym. Paddy enters this thing every year. It's called something. And then they have a king of the mat. It's a grappling tournament, but they have this thing, this king of the mat. Paddy was in the finals a year ago, and after an hour, they just stopped the match and called it a draw. So he was a co-champion. So whatever this thing is, it's a thing that matters to him. So he enters it, I guess, over the weekend. I guess. And he ends up getting beat.
Gaethje, Paddy, what do you think it looks like?
Oh, man. More skilled, more experienced, I think better fighter all around, Justin Gaethje. But I also have been on record and said that Paddy Pimblett is better than a lot of people think he is. You know, because of his haircut and the way he talks. And when I fought him, he's better than a lot of people give him credit for. He's got long reach, good kicks, pretty darn patient and composed in there. But Gaethje's a whole different animal. So if I had to bet, I'd go Justin Gaethje, interim champion, and then he beats Ilia Topuria later on this year.
I don't think that's true, dude. He's actually changed his style so much, and his stats are kind of misleading. Like, if you look at his significant strike numbers, dude, it kind of like Max Holloway. Like, you can't statistically prove that Max Holloway's defense has improved or whatever it is, or that he's more technical, but you can see it when you rewatch his recent fights. Justin Gaethje's the same, dude. Like, his defense used to be fucking abysmal. He would just walk through you. But now he actually has shown improvements in his defense. He was making Dustin Poirier miss a lot in their fight, really frustrated him with his footwork, with his head movement, had some good moments against Max Holloway, dropped him for the first time. He's sharpened up his technique. He has a really nice jab. Like I said, his defense is a very underrated part of his game. He has good footwork. He feints. He mixes things up between the body and the head. I think that'll work well against Paddy Pimblett, who's super focused on, I need to have my hands up, I need to do this, or his hands are down really low. They're both open, depending on the feints and the setups that you use to capitalize really, really effectively on Paddy Pimblett in the striking. We've seen it.
Fiziev was short notice in this one, coming off an injury, and he, you know, it is what it is. But another thing about Gaethje I want to bring up too is recently in his career, he's kind of just sort of started to wrestle a little bit more. This no wrestling thing that he did have going on for a long time, he's kind of abandoned it, which I think is good. I know that Paddy Pimblett's grappling is really elite, and if Gaethje tries to take him down, it probably would be a mistake, but that tells me the wrestling is something that he's still got in his back pocket, something that he can use to keep the fight on the feet, keep the fight standing. And I think that when the fight is standing, yes, Pimblett looks so good against Chandler. I think Chandler just sucks, I'll be honest. I think I was wrong about Chandler. I think that's also part of it too. I think Gaethje goes out there and beats Paddy Pimblett, man. I think he's a much better striker out of the two. We've seen him go 5 rounds. We saw him go 5 rounds against Holloway. I know that he got knocked out in the last second of that fight, and you know, it did kind of suck for that. I actually think I picked Holloway to beat him, though. I can't actually remember. But anyway, it did kind of suck for Gaethje for that to have happened. But, you know, it did kind of create a viral moment that people are still trying to recreate to this day.
Listen, we're about to witness something special here. Paddy Pimblett, the guy they call the Baddy, is walking straight into what might just be the most important moment of his entire fighting journey. Standing right there waiting for him, Justin Gaethje, and this dude is basically built like a wrecking machine designed to break people.
You know, for other guys, but I know Paddy Pimblett and Justin Gaethje is a very competitive fight. It's going to be an exciting fight, and I'm not saying other fights not going to be exciting, you know, but at the end of the day, we know Paddy and Justin Gaethje is going to be a complete firework. There's no way in hell this fight will go 5 rounds. There's no way, you know.
Are you surprised that Justin opened as like a plus 200 underdog? I think it's already starting to flip a little bit.
It's no problem. He was underdog was Tony Ferguson too. What happened? You know, he was underdog was Dustin Poirier second time. What happened? You know, it's okay. You can doubt Justin, but I'm gonna tell you something. If Justin fights in Shell, he's gonna make it sleep. I respect Pimblett. I think he's very underrated. I think a lot of people talk shit about him, but I was like, the guy never lost in the UFC. How are you gonna talk shit about him? But I think if Justin Gaethje, touch his chin, he's going to make him go to sleep. But vice versa too. He has very good grappling. It's a very intriguing match.
Here's what makes this whole thing so fascinating. These two couldn't fight more differently if they tried. Their styles are complete opposites, and they're coming from totally different places in their careers right now. Fans are going absolutely crazy trying to figure out who takes this one.
Paddy the Baddy, as a matter of fact, got submitted. Do you guys even know what I'm talking about? So there's something that goes on in England. This is Paddy's gym. Paddy enters this thing every year. It's called something. And then they have a king of the mat. It's a grappling tournament, but they have this thing, this king of the mat. Paddy was in the finals a year ago, and after an hour, they just stopped the match and called it a draw. So he was a co-champion. So whatever this thing is, it's a thing that matters to him. So he enters it, I guess, over the weekend. I guess. And
This isn't some popularity contest or social media battle. We're talking about pure survival mode for Paddy. This is where he finds out what he's really made of, and there's nowhere to hide.
now, one of the reasons it's so cool is I don't think you have heard about it. One of the reasons I think it's so cool is there's no other sport where this would happen. One of the reasons I think it's so cool is it doesn't matter. And that's one cool thing about our community. Like, if a guy like Paddy wants to go out there and take a risk and do something like this, he can chalk that up to a tremendous victory. He can also chalk that up to a workout. And you know what? We need to keep it that way. It's one thing that we have done very well as a group, and there's no others.
The MMA world has completely lost its mind over this matchup, and everyone's throwing their predictions around like confetti. So Chael Sonnen drops this incredible perspective that goes way deeper than just talking about wins and losses.
That LeBron drops in for a one-on-one with the college star. He's going to take the risk. He just simply could not take the risk. This happened when I was a kid. It was to John McEnroe in Oregon. This was before the internet was a thing, but John McEnroe came out and he played somebody. We had some high school star down in, it was down in Eastern Oregon. I want to say maybe Pendleton. At any rate, the guy beat him. Our high school star beat McEnroe, and this was a thing. This was a thing. But it's one of these reasons why you can't ever get that. Like, you were left to believe that the NBA is better than the NCAA. You're led to believe the NFL is better than college football. I'm sure you're right, but there's exceptions, and there's certain positions at certain times where there are exceptions. You will never know.
Chael wasn't just focused on that grappling match Paddy lost recently. He was digging into what that moment actually revealed about who Paddy is when the pressure hits. Think about this situation. Paddy's grinding through this brutal training camp, preparing for the biggest fight of his life, and he still decides to jump into a local grappling competition at his own gym.
Rumors have been swirling that Justin Gaethje is injured. A few videos have surfaced of him diving and cracking heads with someone, which wobbled him bad. Do you have any inside information? Have you not heard of this? Okay, actually, I got to be honest. I thought you guys were talking about. I thought he was going to ask about. I saw a bunch of pictures about this thing.
Up, though, right?
Yeah. The ingrown hair is what he's claiming.
Okay, right.
Ingrown hair and a bit of brisket. Yeah.
Brisket.
Yeah, a little brisket on the chin.
Because they said he had herpes on his mouth. He's like, I was eating brisket and I had an ingrown hair.
If that is an ingrown hair, that's the gnarliest ingrown hair I've ever seen. That makes like a little red dot on your neck if it's an ingrown hair. He had a crater in his neck. I don't know about
By the way, could you imagine, just for a moment, you know where I'm going with this?
Yeah.
You know where I'm going with this?
I do know exactly where you're going.
Enter Armin.
Yes.
Enter Armin.
Yes, it's time. Now, is Armin ready is the thing.
That's his home turf, his reputation on the line, and he knew the risks. Injury, embarrassment, whatever. But he showed up anyway and gave everything he had. Win or lose, he faced the music. That's not backing down. That's charging forward. As Chael put it, Paddy the Baddy just got beat. But there's something powerful underneath that story.
If it even happens. And now we've got Gaethje fighting Pimblett for the vacant title. And I know I've just picked favorites the entire card. And I know that is kind of probably not that all that exciting for you guys. I am picking Gaethje to beat Paddy Pimblett in this fight. I've been proven wrong by Paddy Pimblett so many times. Over and over and over and over again. If you guys remember, I picked Tony Ferguson to beat Paddy Pimblett in that fight, and I will be honest with you guys, there was a moment there in that third round where it looked like maybe Ferguson was going to get something going because Pimblett did gas out pretty bad in that fight, but that is just cope on my end. And then even then, I picked Michael Chandler to beat him too. Have I ever been more wrong about a fight? Probably not, to be honest with you, but he looked really, really good. The problem with me and Paddy Pimblett, dude, is there's two things that he's just never fixed. His cardio and his striking defense. He still keeps his chin way up in the air. I know that's why people love him. I know people love Paddy Pimblett because of that. The problem is, though, I just don't like seeing that and then trying to justify picking him to beat Justin Gaethje, who just beat Rafael Fiziev a couple of times in the last few years. Now, I know that
Artem didn't stop, so Chael takes this whole thing even further, connecting that exact mentality to what's about to happen with Justin Gaethje. His point was brilliant. Real fighters, especially ones with Paddy's heart, don't spend their time protecting some fake image like you see in other sports.
Fiziev was short notice in this one, coming off an injury, and he, it is what it is, but another thing about Gaethje I want to bring up too is recently in his career, he's kind of just sort of started to wrestle a little bit more. This no wrestling thing that he did have going on for a long time, he's kind of abandoned it, which I think is good. I know that Paddy Pimblett's grappling is really elite, and if Gaethje tries to take him down, it probably would be a mistake, but that tells me the wrestling is something that he's still got in his back pocket, something that he can use to keep the fight on the feet, keep the fight standing. And I think that when the fight is standing, yes, Pimblett looks so good against Chandler. I think Chandler just sucks, I'll be honest. I think I was wrong about Chandler. I think that's also part of it too. I think Gaethje goes out there and beats Paddy Pimblett, man. I think he's...
Shifting, these warriors throw themselves into brutal situations even when there's literally nothing to gain. No belt, no big payday. Just pure pride on the line. And Shal explained exactly why this mindset isn't just impressive. It's absolutely essential when you're about to face a destroyer like Justin Gaethje.
To me, it's really important to just look at these two stylistically. Paddy Pimblett is not a wrestler, bro. Like, Paddy Pimblett is not a wrestler. Justin Gaethje's a better striker. He has good takedown defense, and he has great power. That is my theory here, right? Because when you look at the way that these guys fight, Paddy Pimblett fights a lot behind kicks, dude. He's throwing oblique kicks, calf kicks, head kicks, body kicks, jumping, kind of, switching up in the air, throwing those kicks. He has improved his boxing. That was a big weakness in the Jared Gordon.
Continue, because here's the thing about Justin. Pressure doesn't break him. It makes him stronger. He turns that stress into rocket fuel. And like Shale said, there's no way you can stand across from a machine like Gaethje if you're scared of losing. That fear becomes a weapon he'll use against you. Now Shal came back swinging against this ridiculous idea that losing outside the official cage somehow makes you weak. He broke it down perfectly. That grappling loss doesn't go on any MMA record, so it's not hurting him in the traditional sense, but what it actually shows is something way more important. It proves this guy has that hunger, that drive to keep competing and getting better no matter what's at stake. The way Paddy handled that loss, treating it like another day at the office instead of hiding from it, revealed everything. This is a fighter who can walk straight into hell against someone as dangerous as Justin Gaethje without freezing up or playing it safe. We're not just talking about being tough physically. This is about the mental war that starts long before they even step in there. So here's where things get really interesting. Ariel Helwani jumped all over these injury rumors about Justin Gaethje, and he was not having any of the confusion. Those videos and photos that started floating around online had everyone talking, and the timing was absolutely suspicious. Right when everything should be clean and focused on the fight buildup, suddenly there's all this doubt creeping in. Helwani pointed out how just that uncertainty alone can completely change how people see this whole matchup with Paddy. He really dug into how confusing and concerning the whole situation was. Ariel focused on how genuinely bad those images looked and why fans had every right to question what they were seeing. The problem wasn't just what Justin or his team was saying about the injury. It was how terrible it looked and how fast those images exploded across social media. That kind of uncertainty just hangs over a huge fight like this, completely changing the whole atmosphere when we should be getting hyped for fight week. Then Artem Lobov comes in with some honest talk, and he starts by admitting he's been wrong about Paddy before. He's doubted him and paid the price for those bad predictions. But even knowing that history, Artem still couldn't shake these same problems he keeps seeing in Paddy's fights. For Lobov, watching Paddy fight always reveals these moments, where his conditioning starts to fade, and that creates openings. That becomes incredibly dangerous when you're facing someone who never stops pushing like Justin Gaethje does. But the biggest issue Artem highlighted was Paddy's defense. He keeps leaving his chin up there, like a target, giving opponents chances to land clean shots. That high-risk style can work great against fighters who hesitate or get tired. But here's the problem. Justin Gaethje doesn't slow down, and he doesn't miss very often when he finds his range. Artem made it clear that liking Paddy's crazy style and trusting it against an elite striker like Gaethje are two completely different things. Rubov also talked about how much Justin has evolved as a fighter over the years. He's not just that stubborn brawler who only wants to stand and bang anymore. Even if Gaethje has zero interest in grappling with Paddy, just the threat of his wrestling background is always there. That threat alone helps Justin control where the fight happens, keeping things exactly where he wants them. Artem believes keeping it standing is the key for Gaethje, and thanks to how much he's grown as a fighter, Justin has way more tools to make that happen now. The breakdown from Bedtime MMA added another crucial piece to this puzzle. They explained that Paddy, despite being good on the ground, isn't your typical wrestler who shoots for clean takedowns. His approach is way more chaotic, using kicks and scrambles to create opportunities. Against a technician like Justin Gaethje, that scramble-heavy style becomes really dangerous for Paddy. Justin's takedown defense is rock solid, easily capable of stopping sloppy entries and keeping the fight on his feet where he wants it. This means Paddy won't get those easy opportunities he might find against other opponents. Bedtime MMA went even deeper, pushing back against this outdated idea that Gaethje is just some wild brawler. Justin now uses sophisticated feints, footwork, and defense to make opponents miss. Why does this matter so much against Paddy? Because Paddy still gets hit clean more than he should, and those shots add up over the course of a fight. Bedtime laid out the paths to victory, and it was pretty clear where he was leaning. Paddy's best shot is creating early chaos, hurting Justin and converting that into a quick submission. But if that doesn't happen fast, this fight stays on the feet, where Justin has the advantage. Bedtime believes Gaethje will systematically break Paddy down and potentially stop him in the middle rounds. That's why, even though he wants Paddy to win, he's leaning toward Justin getting a TKO. Dintum brought up Paddy's crafty style and diverse skill set. He highlighted Paddy's willingness to fight off his back and his excellent use of kicks with his length. Dintum sees real improvement in Paddy and believes he's shown intelligence in how he sets up attacks. But Dintum also explained that Justin brings an almost unmatched level of violence and power to every fight. While Paddy has skills, Justin's explosive striking might just be too much. Dintum feels that while Paddy has the tools, Justin's experience and pressure will make it incredibly difficult for Paddy to take control. Mike Bones had a different take, saying this fight is guaranteed to be an absolute war from start to finish. He's leaning toward Justin winning by pushing the pace and using his leg kicks to wear Paddy down and limit his movement. But Mike also pointed out that Paddy's unpredictable style creates chaos that can swing the fight at any moment. That chaos becomes especially dangerous if the fight hits the ground, because Paddy's jiu-jitsu and scrambling abilities are his biggest strengths. Mike stressed how important Paddy's preparation is for this fight. He can't treat this like any other training camp. Justin's pressure is different, and Paddy needs to feel that pace in training before fight night. If he waits to adjust inside the octagon, it might be too late. Finally, manager Ali Abdelaziz called this a genuine 50-50 fight because both guys are pressure fighters who move forward. He sees them crashing into each other the moment the bell rings, and the pace will be insane from second one. Ali stated, "There's no chance this goes 5 rounds." He also mentioned Justin being the underdog in the betting odds, reminding everyone that Justin has been doubted before and always shows up in the biggest fights. He summed up the dynamic perfectly. If Justin lands clean, Paddy goes down, but if it hits the ground, Paddy can take over with his grappling. Everything points to this being fast, intense, and ending before the final bell. So, there you have it. Who are you picking in this epic clash? Are you going with Justin's experience and power, or betting on Paddy's skills and game plan to pull off the upset? Let us know what you think.